Hello, everyone. It's Wednesday night. You know what that means? It is time for Symbaroum on Telling Tales, dark fantasy tabletop role-playing game actual play, our long-running campaign of the Throne of Thorns from Fria Ligan. Hi, hello, how are you? Good, thank you. Yes. Let's get our players on soon. But before we do, we will engage in a bit of the old promo. If you check down below this video, you'll find various and sundry links leading to places like YouTube and Twitch. You're watching this video on one of these sites. Why not check out the other? Twitch is where to catch us live, and YouTube is where you can find the vast library of our former streams from various systems and games. There's also links to our social media, our Discord, our Patreon. If those are the kind of things that interest you, get involved. We currently run 2 weekly series. Obviously, the Symbaroum on Wednesdays, and there is Vason on Mondays as well. That should be kicking back off this coming Monday with a second Vason investigation. So do check that out. We also do monthly one-shots of lots and lots of different systems, the next one of which is on Saturday, December 17th, where we will be playing the final part of our Alien trilogy, with a name that I have yet to come up with. But if you want to catch up on that before we go live with it, then the previous 2 installments, A Place of Burning and A Congress of Sorrows, are available on our YouTube. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, let's start bringing on players so they can bring us up to speed with what happened last week on Symbaroum. And first off, we're going to go with Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Hello. Very straightforward, kind of blunt. Hello.
It's a word that's used for greetings, and I employed it as such.
Good. God, with content like this, I don't know how anyone can resist liking and subscribing and all that stuff. So, Mike, you play Anton Theogoprios, holy man and frequent roller of fumbles. Could we have the art up, please, John? If you have a moment, thank you. Yeah, how's it going? How are you? And by you, I mean Anton.
Antom's probably all right. Just happy Antoming about in Carvosti with his pals. Which involves the usual sort of things like combat, which we'll come on to later, and finding dead bodies, which we'll come on to right in this minute. So we found a dead body, and we investigated the dead body. The dead body belonged to someone called Amagor. It was in a tent. We worked out that he'd probably been dead about a day. We worked out that he'd probably been poisoned. And we think that whatever was used to poison him, like the receptacle, the drinking vessel, was taken away from the scene. But I think he did have his neck slit after he was poisoned, maybe to keep.
Yeah, he did. He'd had his throat slit, so.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that was about it. I don't think we found much else in the room.
No, there wasn't much. Did you mention that his hand seemed to have been holding something?
Yeah, I didn't go into that, but yeah, that's how we knew the receptacle was absent, because his hand was in a position that he was.
Absolutely. And talk about what happened next. Let's bring on John. John plays Sir Arindar, the final living descendant of House Dar and purveyor of swords and cats, as you can see there on the image. John, what happened next?
We decided to report the body to the authorities, but unfortunately we're on Kavosti, where there aren't really any authorities who would care. So instead we talked to Edrafin, who's sort of the manager of the camp, maybe unofficially. But we told him about it and tried to see if he had any more information about how Amagor could have died. And he had none. He had no idea.
Yeah.
As far as he knows.
Or unless he's hiding something, which he definitely doesn't seem to be, but who knows? So let's bring on Sam next for further interrogations of the inhabitants of the Pilgrim Camp. Sam plays Ascarai, our resident changeling scout and archer, and the team's well, it's actually unfair to call you the team's DPS machine. There maybe is one other individual who could lay claim to that, but definitely compared to Arindar and Antom, you are the team's DPS machine. So
I can do DPS on occasion, the good role here and there.
Yeah.
So next, considering our first lead was dead, we decided to go to the second lead, which was we were looking for a person called Mankel, who seemed to have gone on some kind of adventure with Almendra before, and we were told to talk to a woman named Lysel, who might know something about him. I think they were kind of tents were nearby, and we went to talk to her. She seemed to basically be somewhat annoyed that we were talking to her at all, but basically gave us the information that Mankel had left camp, I think 2 days before, certainly before all the kind of commotion, and he'd left with 2 merchants heading, I think it was northwest, but a direction that seemed slightly strange, kind of just towards the cliff rather than towards the gate or towards the barbarian settlement. And the only other real information we got was that she kind of thought Mankel was a bit of a bad adventurer who mostly got by clinging on to more capable groups of adventurers and kind of, taking a bit of their glory and whatever they could find, and that was his living. So we decided to head in the direction that Lysel said Mankel had left camp and see what we could find.
Absolutely. And what did you find to know that there's only one solution, and that's to bring on Chris? Chris plays Steo. Chris also enjoys dropping things.
That was completely out of frame. I caught it before it hit the ground, brought it back up to the table. It was flawless. I hit it here.
Well, we only have your word for that, and I have no punchline for that. So Chris plays Steo, curmudgeonly former city guard and infantryman turned sort of curmudgeonly sellsword, really. Chris, how did the tracking down of Mankel go?
So we went on this it's not even a path, it was just a direction, basically. And on our way, some exceptional rolling by one of the party members turned up a footprint kind of leading us away from the track and towards the edge of the ravine. Now, Steo had figured out this years in advance of this event, but when we finally came to the edge of the cliff, we found fluttering in the breeze a small scrap of material that seemed to be like a part of a cloak that had got turned off. So it didn't take us long to deduce that Mankel had taken the express route to the ground, probably after being pushed for knowing a little bit too much about this whole Symbar plot that is boiling away in the background. So
who knows? I can't confirm nor deny that.
So the Steo objecting ravenously to going into the forest for something as trivial as looking for a dead body was overridden, and we went down the great ramp, past the guards who were seemed to be a lot happier to let us pass. Now we'd kind of done a few good deeds within on the mesa. And then we trudged around the forest in a safe manner, hugging the walls, as it were, to see if we could find the body. And thanks to some excellent spot checks by myself, we zeroed in on it pretty easily.
Yeah, I think it is worth noting as well that the excellent rolls to spot the footprint were by someone we would not have expected that from. And Tom succeeded where everyone else has failed, which is not something I think has happened in almost 2 years of running this campaign. So let's have a little. Shall we have a little even? Let's bring on Stephen because I wouldn't want him to miss this, and let's have a little clap for Anton, shall we? Just a little.
Oh, don't do that. That's so patronising. You terrible DM.
Clearly, Mike, that's why I'm doing it. So, Stephen, how did we wrap up the story last week? Stephen, by the way, plays Alindra, former. You know all these characters already. What are you doing starting on episode 12? But Stephen does play Alindra, former Templar novice and wielder of a very big sword that may or may not be possessed by ancient evil.
Joke's on you if someone did decide to jump in this week. You've just harangued them for being
Good.
new.
Good. I hope they only ever dream in Lego.
Thanks for joining us on episode 12, by the way. We sure hope you stick around for episode 13.
So, we'd gone into Davokar. We found a body. And no sooner had we found the body, you will be shocked to hear there was a fight. We were attacked by, are they called jackars?
They are called jackars.
Sort of wolf hyena hybrid.
Nasty scavengers.
Doggy boys. So there were 10 of them, which is considerably more than there were of us. And I think we'll gloss over the blow by blow, but it was quite gory. And we got a few minor nips, but we mostly saw them off pretty well. And just sort of found ourselves in a pile of Jakar corpses and also what we could only deduce was a Mankel corpse.
Absolutely, a Mankel corpse that I think we determined enough that he was definitely dead.
Yeah, I mean the cliff will do that.
Yeah. I don't think we got any extra information though, right? I think everyone fluffed their sort of examination rolls and stuff. So
yeah, I think we came to the conclusion that it was a body with absolutely nothing interesting going on there. So there was a big discussion about whether or not we were going to attempt to sell the Jakar meat. And then eventually we came to our senses and decided to bring Mankel back at least to the foot of the ramp. Heading back to Karvosti. We don't know whether we'd be welcome just to come in with the body or not, but we thought at least get him to where he's collectible.
Yeah, in fact, you're pretty sure that he wouldn't be like the barbarians are probably not awfully keen on the notion of kind of just bringing random Ambrian bodies onto the plateau.
But we might be able to find somebody in the church that might be interested in doing some form of Ambrian burial.
Absolutely.
Or not.
Or not. And who cares? It's not like you knew him anyway. So
Alindra was going to leave him to the Jakar. She was just like, they've earned a meal.
Yeah, absolutely. The ones that are left. So I am going to apologize because I'm briefly going to move my mic round here. There we go. Is that better? That's probably a little bit better. Yes, there we go. You have dragged the body of Mankel round to the foot of the ramp. I think we said, correct me if I am wrong, that it was around midday when you were investigating the tent, which to me means that given your trip down here and the hour you've taken to kind of like hour or so to move around the plateau, and the time you spent fighting the Jakars, and it'll be a longer trip back because you're now carrying a body. I'd say it's probably, given that it's sort of the end of winter, maybe even getting towards like late afternoon, and ergo in Davokar, which is dark already, probably starting to get a little dark. And as you reach the foot of the sort of pathway up to Karvosti, you see that there's obviously that kind of like slight swarm of unfortunates around you as you go. People begging if they could join your group, and then maybe the Wrathguard will let them onto the plateau. People kind of like offering you an extra blade in case you are going exploring into the forest, and generally seeming not terribly helpful, and certainly seem to have a limited interest in the body you're lugging around.
What was our actual plan with this body? Like, were we trying to get it inside Carvasti?
No.
I think
Not
we
at
were
all.
just going to leave it somewhere accessible down here and then let people know that it was there.
Is there any reason to take it all the way up the cliff? Really?
Absolutely not. I think we'll just secrete the corpse somewhere out of maybe just beyond the camp where no one's going to try and cut it up for parts, and then just kind of get up the hill. I suppose I'm not super interested in hanging around down here, given how it seems to be a place where everyone stores their corrupt friends.
We do need to visit Brother Bartho as soon as possible. Do we even need to go back up to Carvasti?
Not traveling through Davakar at night without making proper preparations. We prepared for an afternoon trip.
But
We had also said that we might go and visit some of the people in the church, and Stio wanted to look at around the grove place.
Or is it-
Daytime, yeah.
My worry is that the last two people who may have known something have died. Clearly somebody is killing these people off. The longer we leave Brother Bartho, the more likely he is to be dead, and also the more likely we are to arrive and get no information from him because he's dead.
Are you making the argument that spending the night in Davakar is safer for us than spending it in Carvasti?
It's not safer for us, but it's more likely to result in success if what we're trying to do is find Almendra. I realize it's risky, but maybe worth the risk.
I'm voting against starting a trip into Davakar when it's getting dark.
It's the trail from Carvasti. I understand, but if you're going to be traveling anywhere in Davakar in the dark, it's one of the safer places at the very least.
and it's not that far away. It's only, what was it, Matt, like an hour?
I think it was a bit more than that. I think it was about
Okay.
2 or 3 hours.
Let's do it in the morning when we've got a full day of light ahead of us. How's that? Can I placate you with that? I think doing it tonight, taking this forest lightly, is not. I don't want to do it.
But what if we send a messenger on? Warn Brother Bartho that he may be in danger.
Yeah. Kind of, I'll look around at the unfortunates pile. Think you can engage someone, Aaron?
I'll look around.
Just try and bring the budget down. The $100 dar is still fresh in my mind.
Just so I'm clear, in order to protect Brother Bartho, we're going to employ one of these corrupted people and send them out into the forest in the nighttime. And if they survive, they will warn Bartho and definitely not harm him in any way. Is that the plan?
Well, let's say a thaler. Let's give them like a shilling to go, and a thaler if we get a chance to speak to the father and verify he's okay. Look, this is all very complex. I just don't want to go into the forest at night, and at this stage, all I'm doing is trying to convince Askrai to let me sleep in a tent where there are guards nearby.
There are guards at the camp where Brother Bartho is. It's only 2 hours or 2 or 3 hours through the forest on a well-traveled path here.
And full of Templars.
Maybe there'll be someone selling meat along the way as well.
I feel like I'm being outvoted here. Thankfully, democracy is completely unpractical and will never catch on.
Like, our tents are up on that mesa.
Another great point. And if going up this hill once a day is enough for me.
I'm with
Matt.
Theo.
Yeah, you're definitely probably not carrying all the equipment you would need to make the trip, so you would have to go back up. And
We specifically packed to go out for the afternoon.
That's true. In that case, I will make do with trying to find a messenger to send a message on.
This very much has a vibe, and I don't know if this is a reference that ages me, whether people still do this. This definitely has the vibe of, half the people you went out with on the Friday night want to now go onto a nightclub. You just wanted to sit in the pub. That's all you wanted to do. And now you're being expected to, go throw shapes in the Church of Noise. So that is a reference that definitely dates me. My aim for this stream, I hope everyone knows, is to make as many of you put your heads in your hands as possible. So, so far you're playing into my fiendish trap.
Great, Matt.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, what are we doing then? We seem at a slight impasse here.
I think it sounds like Aaron's going to try and find a person to send as a messenger, and we're going to spend the night in Carvosti.
Yeah,
sounds like.
Yeah.
All right. Aaron Dar, could you roll, because I don't want to go too far into the role play on this. Do you want to roll persuasive for me, please?
I can give it a try.
I love how we keep sending Aaron Dar to do the social stuff, even though his persuasive is dog shit.
But it's still like the best in the party, I think.
Yeah, it is, but it is still dog shit.
Look, we can't hack everything. That's a pass.
Okay. Yeah, you roam around this camp at the base of the path up to Carvosti, and you find a kind of young man who doesn't, he's showing no signs of corruption. He just looks, for whatever reason, maybe the Wrathguard didn't like the look of him. He seems to be trying to get the attention of any kind of group that goes by. And after a quick conversation with you, he is. I mean, what are you offering? There was talk of a shilling and then a thaler if Bartho is findable and alive at the end of it.
I've been told that I need to sort of haggle down a little bit.
Okay.
So I might go for a shilling followed by another 4 shillings.
Okay.
A total of half a thaler.
Well, that is absolutely agreeable to the young man who he doesn't have any outward sign of corruption, but he definitely seems to be scratching himself a lot on parts of his body that you can see kind of clearly have kind of no hair to house fleas or lice, and no visible kind of like scarring other than the red welts he seems to be raising with his own scratching. But other than that, he seems rational and approachable. He quickly agrees, looks around to make sure that no one has seen him do it, grabs a nearby rough torch from where it's been planted to shed a little bit of extra light over this camp of unfortunates, and just immediately starts dashing off into the forest to the southeast.
Okay, chance of success marginal, but at least I get to sleep somewhere nice and warm.
Okay,
let's go.
I take it. So we said we're dumping Mankle's body. What? Just kind of nearby?
Yeah, just maybe a polite distance from the camp,
tucked into a bush somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the path up to Carvosti is, normal. There's no sign that anything horrible has gone wrong in your absence. You reach the gates and are kind of waved through by the Wrathguard after a brief inspection that you haven't brought anything horrible back with you, or at least nothing more horrible than what you took into the forest. And yeah, you can make your way to the camp. And are we doing anything specific overnight? Whether that's actually doing something or just having a prospective conversation about current events, or are we taking the evening quietly in the pilgrim camp on the long?
I think there's definitely going to be a pint.
Sorry, go on, Chris.
I would like an opportunity to have a chat while we're having a pint.
Absolutely. And why do we take this downtime as well to mention a bit of XP spending that is going on? Because at least one of us is spending some experience, aren't they, Mike?
I am buying 1 point in exceptional attribute, which gives me 1 more resolute.
I think we can all agree is sorely needed.
What's your base resolute, Mike?
13.
So it's not like it wasn't even your dump stat. You're just terrible at dice.
I had I was talking to Matt about this week. I think my character is more like a sort of like a more even spread with my points rather than like I didn't have like the maximum 15 like I think a lot of you guys did when.
There's like a standard spread that's basically like 15, 13, 11, 9, so blah, blah, blah. But you can spend outside that. And I think Mike is the only one of you who chose not to do that. So Anton is actually has quite a flat distribution, which means that he sometimes does quite well out of his comfort zone where the others of you don't so much. But also means that he doesn't have particular specialities either, which is a weakness when his main utility is rolling resolute. So, yeah.
But also, you are very good at rolling 20s.
Yeah.
Did we mention last time that I put a second point into steadfast, so I can now resist magical encumbrances?
I don't know if we said it on stream, but now we have. So there we go. Okay. Those of you who wish are having a drink in the Longhouse. No sign of Cruel Jaw or anyone else of particular interest in the Longhouse this evening. But why don't you go ahead and say your piece, Dio?
Just over a pint, probably after talking about something else, there will be a pause, and Dio will quite plaintively go, "What's our actual skin in this? Like, there have been rumors of Symbar. It's not weekly, but there's rumors of Symbar all the time."
Cruel Jaw was quite explicit about what Elmendra thought she knew, and we know that there are at least 2 bodies associated with Elmendra now. Probably that became bodies before Cruel Jaw made this public. There's a gold rush.
Yeah. But we're not. I'm not rushing for gold. Like, it's not safe gold. It's not speculating on renting apartments and flipping Thistlehold. It's danger gold. It's go out and come back with an extra limb gold.
Well, then will you consider trying to help Elmendra being the skin in the game?
I have never met Elmendra. My skin in the game, I think, is trying to stop as many people from getting hurt by people like Elmendra who come and run their mouth about walking north for 20 miles and finding their fortune when it's not worth the risk.
Well then, Steo, don't we have a duty to, I don't know, make sure no one does anything dangerous? What if someone does find Symbar, and what if they unleash corruption on us? Like,
it's just...
It does seem like the kind of thing that certain individuals who seem to want to make contact with you and Arendar would approve of.
I just do not want to visit any more unnecessary risks. And you're right. You know what, Aaron? You're right. If I can prevent other people from making the mistakes that I've seen so many others make, then I suppose that's something, isn't it?
If there's people killing for this information, or for even the chance of this information, then you can already tell what they would do with it would not be things that we would want. And at the same time, maybe somewhere down the road we can make some thaler out of it.
I just we're already carrying, again, and a kind of nervous glance around, we're already carrying quite a lot of stuff that we really should get back to the safe house and look over carefully. We're just taking risks here for someone we don't care. And I'm going to be perfectly blunt here. 2 murders in one night, that's a Wednesday in Thistlehold. That's a good Wednesday in Thistlehold.
But I mean, in Thistlehold, it's over, shillings and ortegs or ale. Here, it's over something that could, if Simba has actually been found, if the directioner is actually known to somebody, we can't let random murderers be the ones who find that information.
That's correct. To many people, we are the random murderers.
Yeah, but to us, we're the good random murderers, and to us, the people who are randomly murdering Mankel and Amagor are the bad random murderers. I think we'd all be happier knowing that we have this information, or we control who has this information, than some other people have it. We saw what happened with the crown.
And let's just take it. Like, I don't care about this lady. I don't care about Symbar. I care about keeping as many people safe, and ideally getting back to Thistlehold and keeping that place safe, because there's people we all care about there. This place has stood 1,000 years. It'll stand another 1,000.
Calvasia will be fine. It's what people will take out of the forest. The Thistlehold, the Indaros. The barbarians know better than to mess with stuff like that in general. Ambrians really do not.
We saw the reaction in the inn when Cooljaw ran his mouth about all of this. There's a huge desire for people to make their fortune, and that could unleash all sorts of problems upon this town and upon Thistlehold as well. So I definitely think that we have that responsibility.
Yeah.
So has the group reached the general agreement to embark upon the campaign of Throne of Thorns?
I think I do this at the start of every major quest. Can we not just go home and use all of our money to go on a nice spa break?
Please, I don't want you to think that you are unique from any other roleplay group, in that every single roleplay group has a moment near the beginning of the campaign where one of the group desperately tries to roleplay their way out of the campaign.
Standard.
Absolutely. But it's all roleplay, isn't it? So is that our conversation for the evening, or do we want to go further?
Lindra was going to ask about, or was going to mention Pyramai. I think that's where my motivation is in this, right? Pyramai said that he was going to help Elmendra. Pyramai, there was something about a hammer. As far as I can tell, Pyramai has not helped Elmendra. Now, I don't know Elmendra, but if there's a member of the church that is not keeping promises to protect people, I have a problem with that. And I want to know about that. I don't know how much interest this is for the rest of you.
Look, all of the power structures of all of our power structures break down this far away from Yndaros. They're bad enough in Thistlehold. Out here, crooked priests are more common than normal ones, I imagine.
Well, let's not be too hasty to judge anyone just yet, Steer.
It's certainly true that whoever has killed these people, Mankel and Amagor, knew about this before Crueljaw said anything. And it seems like very few people knew of it other than Pyramai and Crueljaw. So where did these murderers get their information? I think we have to look to Pyramai as potential source of that, since he's decided not to help and already seems to have gotten this hammer, whatever it is, out of the bargain.
I don't like his divisive rhetoric either. Cause trouble up here, because when you cause trouble up here, you're also causing diplomatic incidents.
Yeah. Ambrians came and they saw that structure and they decided that it was a temple of Prios and took it over and run it as such. And if they're going to do that in the name of Prios, then I think that should come with a certain code of behavior. Right, Anton? And Pyramai is not doing that. And that's not okay. Not out here, not with the damage that could cause.
What do you know of Pyramai, Lindra?
I know that his speech is divisive. I know that he seems to have walked back on a promise.
I only ask because they're having spent more time operating within the structures of the church. I am more acutely aware now of the challenges that causes and the conflicting ways in which an individual can be pulled. And there is often more than meets the eye to these situations.
So I'd like to talk to him. That's what I'm saying.
I would like to talk to him as well. And if you would allow me to, I would like to be present when you talk to him.
I mean, it's more likely to be productive if he talks to you than to me, but.
And Tom just concerned that Father Pyramai is going to end up sliced in half if Lindra does it on her own there. Okay. Shall we move on to the following morning when the sun rises over the forest, harsh and yellow in a whitish sky as the overcast late winter rolls on? You can all kind of see your breath as you step out from your tents in the morning and feel kind of the frost working its way from the grass around you to kind of your clothes, your weapons, anything else you pick up. It is a very, very cold day indeed. I'm assuming we're gathering. Are you basically packing everything up? Would you do that? But I think you might for a 3-hour trip in Davokar. You might want to take just everything with you.
Yeah,
you don't want to run the
everything.
risk. Don't want to run the risk that we get caught out and need to camp.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, as you do that, kind of Edrafin, who's also up early, and it's becoming a bit of a tradition to have a picture of Edrafin on every stream at the moment. So there he is again. Kind of wanders up to you as you are packing up and goes, "Oh, leaving the camp?"
We expect we'll be back, but well, we don't want to take any chances.
Oh, it's a chance just going down the path here.
Yep, never take the forest lightly. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Well, Prios be with you on your travels. Do stay safe. I will say a prayer for you.
Thank you, Edrafin.
Yes. He wrings his hands slightly and pats his pockets as if trying to remember where something is, and then wanders off to accost someone else.
Should we maybe mention Mankel to someone before we go?
Yes.
I was just considering how gosh darn suspicious pretty much everyone on this Mesa is.
I don't disagree with you, Steo, especially because we went to go and find Amagor and reported a dead body, then went to go and find Mankel and we'll be reporting a dead body. And it does invite some difficult questions.
I say, for the moment, let's slip out.
I'm sure nobody saw us dragging a body.
Oh yeah, we
Nobody
do
who
have to.
mattered saw you.
That's true.
We should report that, but are we gonna? If we're going to do it, let's do it in the morning. Go up, tell the church.
I thought it was the morning.
It is the morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Let's do it now, so we can still get a full day's worth of walking in.
Yes.
I just, there are jackals around. I want to make sure the man is laid to rest.
Who do you suggest speaking to? Edrafin? Pyramai?
I'd assumed someone at the Sun Temple.
Someone at the Sun Temple. I trust. I'm out of trust for any Ambrian on this hill right now.
Right, well, I think we have business in the Sun Temple, and then we'll make our way. So let's tell Pyramai.
Are you traveling up as a group?
Well, Anton and I are going. I don't know about.
I would absolutely like to go with them, because in my mind, in Steele's mind, there's a non-zero chance this could become a problem, and also maybe I can convince them to take us to the Forest Friend Grove.
Sure.
I would also go with them.
I'll go since everyone's going.
Fair enough. So you head up I believe I described it. It's a couple of like very large tree trunks that have been pushed up against the escarpment to lead you up to the higher part of the plateau, and they're not a terribly easy walk up there, as you might imagine, but neither are they horribly dangerous, so there's no need for rolls or anything. It's especially rough at this point in the morning when the frost is coating those tree trunks, but you do all manage to either walk or scrabble your way upwards until you're on that higher part of the plateau with this ancient supposed sun temple ahead of you. You can see that obviously, as you might imagine, at least one of the points of the day that's important for a sun temple is the dawn and sunrise. And that is indeed the case right now. You can hear the voices of several sort of junior theurgs in the Sun Temple singing a rather tired prayer to Prios. There doesn't seem to be an actual service happening or even gearing up. And you can see maybe a couple of people from the pilgrims camp milling around in the light yard, but otherwise not a huge amount of people. You can't currently see Pyramai, although you do see the liturg Aranitra sort of muttering under her breath to herself as she's attempting to light some candles along one wall. She is nursing two black eyes and a hefty bandage over her nose from when she was struck by Cruel Jaw 2 days ago.
Just before we go in, I have contacts for the Sun Church. Like, do you think it would be there's any chance that Anton might know someone who's working at the Sun Church here who could? I know that we know Aranitra, but like, is there anyone? I don't know how contacts works. Do I have to roll for something?
You normally have to make some kind of roll, but let me just have a
persuasive. I think I have. Well, I have the same, although we never actually quite defined whether my contacts were in the Church of Prios or the Temple of Many.
I mean, they could be either, but I would also imagine that it'd be more like, wouldn't it be more the Templars than like,
I suppose
the priesthood.
Yeah.
So let me just have
if it's just easier for us to talk to Aranitra and get an introduction.
That's fine. I think I mean, you are on the very fringes here. No respectable theurg is going to want to come here for any reason. But if you could give me a persuasive roll to see if you might have some kind of knowledge of anyone.
I make it. Needed a 10, rolled a 3.
Well, let's say, in fact, like, rather than I'm trying to think of anything that could actually apply. Okay, As you walk in, you can see that one of the kind of junior theurgs, who is singing kind of a rough chorus to Prios along one wall, is one who you recognize from the Sun Temple at Thistlehold, specifically occasionally bringing the Lightbringer, things that she might ask, kind of serving the Lightbringer directly.
Okay, I will leave the others and make my way over to that individual.
Okay. I take it you're waiting for them to finish their chorus rather than...
Yeah, I think I'll do the polite thing.
Absolutely. They kind of all step down and start stepping away to other duties, and the one who you recognize sort of goes to walk past you and then kind of sort of does a double take and says, "Oh, Father Anton."
Oh, it's an unexpected sight for sure. I'll give the symbol of Frios and give a slight bow. Forgive me, I know that you worked with Lightbringer. I don't recall your name.
For God's sake, Mike. His name is... Needing names for everyone. like they're real people or something. His name is Berimo.
Berimo. What family name
Fuck
do you
off.
have?
I can't answer that. None, because he's not a noble.
Well, that's just completely thrown me. Berimo. I wasn't expecting to see a recognizable face here. Found myself on my travels up here, and actually with a need to speak to Pyrameus. So I was wondering if I may trouble you for an introduction or any advice on the man.
I'm not sure. Pyramé is afflicted with he does not rise early.
I see.
The Litter Garanitra, I could have a word with her, but she might be... I can do my best, Father Anton, but give me one moment, please. Can you make another persuasive roll to see how much you've convinced him that getting yelled at is worth it?
It is very much worth it. I rolled a 2.
Well, then, you see him kind of stride over to Aranitra, who seems somewhat exasperated by the request. But then eventually, after sort of much, you can see him visibly kind of like sort of pleading and pointing over to where you are. You see her mouth, "The Lightbringer," and kind of glances over at you with some curiosity. Presumably he's used kind of, he is, a companion of the Lightbringer or something like that. And she sort of taps her lip a little bit, and then sends him about his way and dashes off into a doorway on the side of the chamber. While this is going on, are any of the other 4 of you doing anything? Or are you just lurking, like
respectfully
heretic?
Lurking and keeping an idea on and keeping a kind of tactical view on things?
Are we outside the church? Or are we inside?
It's up to you. Anton is certainly inside because he went to speak to someone singing the chorus, so he's in the light yard.
I'll go inside.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems a shame to come this way and not go in.
Do we do we remember, by the way, that is like the light yard is like like the equivalent in a church of like the main room, like the you don't have pews in a Sun Temple. You have like a large open chamber where that sort of represents like the expansiveness and the light of the sun as it flows into this airy large room. And that is that is what you have. So there's nothing in particular you're doing. It sounded like Steo is giving everyone did someone say they were tactically appraising it, like a kind of like...
Yeah, Steo is absolutely expecting this is going to end up as
right.
Well, Steele's always expecting things to end up as a fight, so
Sure. Yeah. Just in case Father Pyramide comes out of the back with like an AK-47 or something.
Well, he does have a hammer.
He does have a hammer, sure. Yeah. So
Is there this may be too close to real world religion, but is there like a place to light a candle for Prios?
Yeah, there absolutely is. Yeah, I mean, it is similar to real world religion, but also, you'd think making fire for Prios is probably a good thing, right?
Very common thing.
And I mentioned that Aranitra was trying to light a bunch of candles. So yeah, there's like several rows along each side of the Sun Temple where you could indeed light candles. There aren't many available, but most of them seem to have been basically they let someone light a candle, let it burn down, and then take the wax, remelt it, and like they're all lumpy sort of agglomerations of old candles.
Fantastic. I will light a candle for Prios.
Okay. Well, it takes several minutes before Father Pyramide appears, and I don't think we've overly described him or indeed described him at all. But he is a somewhat unpleasant seeming appearance that causes people commonly to recoil whenever he comes near. He's as tall as an ogre, with the jaw of a troll, hair as white and wild as his beard, and small, deep-set, pitch-black eyes. He has a kind of unpleasant, musky aroma around him, and he's dressed in quite, given his rank, with what rank he must have in the Sun Temple to be father of this particular temple. He does not seem to reflect that in his robes at all. They don't seem ascetic, just as if he never particularly washes or pays attention to them. And as he kind of barrels out of this back door and looks around, kind of quite aggressively, it has to be said, until he spots he has Aranitra by his side, and she kind of timorously points over at you, Anton, and he sort of strides over to where you are and says, "Yes." You're on mute, unless your intention is to just mouth nothings at him.
Father Pyramide, a pleasure to meet you. My name is Father Anton. I've travelled quite a long way with my companions.
Yes, the liturg has told me of your travels here, hard, I'm sure. You are apparently have some relation with the Lightbringer, and her wishes are, of course, paramount to any good follower of Prios. Now tell me what you want.
Just a moment of your time to discuss some recent goings-on in this town. Specifically, an individual called Elmendra. We believe that this individual may have met you a few weeks ago, perhaps. And
what business is it of yours?
Well, it is something that we have been tasked with investigating.
Tasked by who?
Well,
not tasked by me. And I am the senior Ambrian authority on this plateau. Tasked by Viara, tasked by the Templars. Speak.
It has become our responsibility, through some of the acquaintances that we have made in this town, to
what
investigate.
Acquaintances?
For one, Crueljaw.
The ogre?
The ogre.
Wait. Were you not the individuals who cut down Ambrians to protect the High Chieftain?
We did find ourselves in the midst of some unusual goings-on when we first arrived.
How very politic of you.
it is never our intention to seek trouble out. Although trouble does seem to find us quite often.
Well, and I'm sure that these individuals were misled into violence in the name of Prios. Whereas Prios, of course, prefers that we lead with a firm guiding hand. A rod for the child, not a blade.
To return to the matter at hand, can I ask about Elmendra?
What would you ask about Elmendra?
There was some talk that she had come to you for protection, perhaps.
Talk from who? The drunken ogre?
That was one source of the information.
I have had dealings with the treasure hunter, and on occasion she provided valuable information to the church. Any other interactions between us are strictly that. Confidential, as you should know, Father Anton.
I understand, and I recognize that I am asking some difficult questions. However, as you know, sometimes we find ourselves guided by Prios to do things that are difficult, and this is one such occasion. May I just clarify something you said there about the information that you had from Elmendra? Was it just information, or was it an exchange of goods as well?
I know what it is you're asking after. This is the first time he's spoken to you in anything but a bellow. That which you seek was given freely to the church, and it has been used as such. I will afford you this information only out of respect that you have donned the cloth. Although, from what I have heard from companions in Thistlehold, you are one of our number who seeks perhaps to hold close truck with apostates, preachers in Thistlehold, yes? Individuals who would go against the good graces of First Father Jesse Begay. Sir, I may have respect for your robe, but I have no more time for you here, inquiring about matters in which you have no personal stock. I recommend you raise your weapon in future not against your fellow Ambrians, but against the very heretics and witches who pollute this land, this forest, with that he's spitting and raging, and those kind of dark pinprick eyes are like wide. He's almost you've almost out of his attention now. He's just turning round and sort of raging this fiery rhetoric at the entire church. Several people there are kind of watching rapt, others not so much. You spot, for example, the novice you spoke to kind of glance at you briefly and then cast his eyes downward in a manner where he looks perhaps like he was being spiritually, thoughtful about this, but from the expression on his face, he seems to see it more as an embarrassment.
I will try to talk over him in a very calm way and just thank him for his time and his assistance, and I will ask for my leave.
I mean, he's not paying any more attention to you.
I will turn to Elindra and ask if she has anything that she wants to add. While also saying under my breath that, yeah, may have been right about this individual.
I think it's best if I don't say anything in this place.
I think that is wise. I'll make my way out while actually giving a nod of thanks to my good chum Beramo. God bless Beramo.
Your delivery of that line, Mike. My good chum Beramo. Who has a rich, detailed backstory.
I did actually intend, if I got the chance, to invite Beramo to join us at the pub later. So
just have him join the party. Fuck it.
So, Berman, how's your wife and child?
What are their names again? 12 children.
Tell me, what's your favorite moment from your childhood, Beramo?
What would you say?
Favorite color?
What really defined you, like growing up? All right, let's fucking move on.
Can we please make Beramo like the chapter title of this episode?
We absolutely cannot. So
Beramo, fuck off.
I'm going to, as we are making a quick exit, can I sort of grab an acolyte and let them know about the Ambrian corpse waiting at the bottom of the slope?
Sure. Do you think you would have noticed Anton talking to the
To his
notorious
good friend
Beramo?
Yeah. Yes.
Our good friend Beramo, really. Like,
I will go to
say he's one of our favorite characters.
I will introduce myself to him. I will ask for a defining feature about him, and then I will tell him about the Ambrian corpse at the bottom of the slope that needs funereal services.
He nods and says, I will try, but matters are difficult here. Thank you.
Yeah, understandable. Thank you, Beramo.
All right. Have we? Are we done with Beramo now?
Yeah, we're done.
Okay.
I was going to go on, but it's fine.
We've done with our little game, have we? Yeah.
For now.
Okay. Let's move on. So you leave the Sun Temple, and I believe that is that the business we wanted to do before we head to the VR outpost.
I think so. I mean, there was some talk by someone or other about maybe going to the Magic Grove, but like we could nip in really quickly.
Well, the one person who wants
Chris
to go
comes back.
Yeah, the one person who wants to go to the Grove is not here. So while that would be funny, I think it would also be vicious.
Yeah, let's not. Yeah, I think we're heading off, right? As we leave the temple, I will say to Anton that if that man is the kind of person that Prios chooses as his representative, then I feel vindicated in having been rejected from the church.
It's very difficult to judge an organization like the church on one individual like that. Would you not judge the value of the church on someone like myself instead?
I would far rather.
The church also rolls 20s constantly.
Just in its hiring processes.
Is Anton the 20 or here am I?
I couldn't possibly comment. So you descend down to the main level of the plateau, gather all your equipment, all your tents and the like, although they were perhaps with you already. Is there anything else we want to do on Carvosti before we leave? I don't think so, right?
I think we're just
I think
going.
so.
Okay. So you make your way down past the gateway. The Wrathguard again let you out with a kind of a relatively brief glance, and you stride down the pathway all the way to the base of the plateau where that camp is, where the unfortunates and the corrupted dwell, having been rejected from the plateau itself. I take it we're not doing anything in particular there before we move onwards.
Maybe checking the body is okay if it's not too far from that place.
The body's gone.
They're efficient in the Sun Temple, aren't they?
It's, well, I mean, I know that was sarcasm, but for the purposes of anyone who's only lightly listening, yeah, the Sun Temple definitely could not have made it down here. But even Beremo is not that fast and efficient.
Can I have a quick look around for like are there Jacquard tracks around or signs of some kind of wild animal?
Go ahead and give me a vigilant roll at -3, I think, for trying to detect any sign of what's happened here.
Okay, I'll need a 12. I rolled a 15, so I don't make it.
Yeah, you got no idea.
Are there any particularly sort of well-fed looking people around?
Um,
Can I smell cooking meat?
Give me a vigilant roll.
Vigilant 10. Is that a -3?
No, just a normal one.
That's a plus.
You can indeed smell cooking meat.
Right. I will say nothing.
Well,
it's a mystery. Never mind.
we need to focus on Brother Bartho. At least he might still be alive.
Yep.
Okay. So we are heading past this camp, out of that tantalizing smell of breakfast meats, and down to the southeast. You've already traveled this journey not a couple of weeks ago, so you're relatively familiar with it. And there's nothing particularly significant that happens on the way. There are no kind of like camps or settlements between Carvosti and the Viara outpost. So your journey is relatively calm and with nothing particularly to speak of, other than the fact that it is, as I say, really exceptionally cold. You pass at least one small group of merchants traveling the other way, who just seem very happy to politely greet you and then get past you as quickly as possible. And before long, you can hear the Viara outpost ahead of you bustling to a certain degree, with a little bit of trade and a little bit of people staying there. And then you round kind of a corner on the forest path, and it is ahead of you. It is a sort of a largest outpost, kind of bigger than Jacquard's Heart. It has a rather large palisade with a gatehouse, and through those gates, which are open, you can see maybe 6 or so buildings, a couple of them relatively large within the space inside. There are indeed some guards at the gates wearing, I wouldn't say House Viera livery, but sort of livery that looks like it's derived roughly from House Viera livery. So, yeah, they don't look like maybe official guards, but guards that at some point in their payment chain, someone from House Viara may at some point have glanced at one of the coins. So that's that kind of thing, I suppose. Yeah, that's about it. You can see that outside the gate, sort of lurking and shivering in the cold, unable to get near a fire, is the individual who you had sent to give a message to Brother Bartho. And welcome back, Chris.
I will approach my messenger.
Good sir, I came here like you asked, but they wouldn't let me in.
Did they make you stay out here all night?
That's right. I did as you asked. The man is still safe. Kind of did as you asked, I guess.
He did. Take these 2 shillings now. Go back to camp. Get yourself warm and fed. And when I return, I'll give you the other 2. If Bartho is indeed safe.
Yes, sir. Thank you. He kind of paws at a shoulder with no visible kind of problems with it, as if it's on fire, and sort of starts scrambling back to the northwest.
I will, return to the group. They wouldn't let him in.
Huh. I suppose we should have thought of that.
At least if they're not letting people in, it might help. It might have helped keep Brother Bartho safe.
Unfortunate for your friend.
Yeah.
What was his name again?
Don't.
I'm sorry.
Was it Barami?
Baramai, I think.
Nice roleplay group I had here once.
I suppose we should see if they're willing to let us in.
I'll stride up to the door.
Okay. As I say, the gates are open, and there are a couple of guards at them. They kind of watch as you approach, and one of them calls out, "Here, you're not with him, are you?"
The messenger.
That's the one.
I'm not with him. I did send him ahead.
Right. Well.
Is that a problem?
It's a problem if you turn up at the outpost gate dressed in nothing but rags, pouring at your skin like it's covered with something from the forest. Aye. Gotta be careful out here, young sir. This ain't no thistlehold. Anyone who looks like they ain't right ain't coming in.
That's understandable.
It is understandable, but could the boy not tell his message to anyone?
Oh, he told it to us.
Right. Well, then I suppose you know why we're here?
You're coming for the fat priest, aren't you? His friend nudges him.
If we may.
Don't think he's here, but you can poke around.
Thank you.
As he kind of steps aside and waves you in, he says, "Try looking on top of the cook." And his companion kind of nudges him hard again. Fuck off.
Right.
Well.
Would we like to see what the kind of interior layout of the outpost looks like?
Yes, please.
Here we go. So you can't tell what all these buildings are straight away, obviously. But you can tell that number 1 is definitely an inn of some kind. It seems to be called the Victorious Hawk. I believe the hawk is the sigil of House Viara. Number 2, there is a large stables building. And a number of the others, it's kind of difficult to see what they may or may not be, really, without kind of having a bit of a closer look. But I mean, they're probably, storage or stores or barracks or what have you. This central area here is occupied by quite a few people kind of milling around. There's a couple of caravans even pulled up with merchants and traders and travelers wandering around them. Not many people seem to give you much of a second glance, other than a couple of people emblazoned roughly with Viara livery kind of glance over towards you with a certain wariness, but no immediate alarm.
Should we try the tavern?
We could warm up if nothing else.
Yes.
Yeah, good place for information as well, hopefully.
We're going to try the tavern.
Okay, then. You all walk into the Victorious Hawk, which seems to be, somewhat busy. It has a few off-duty guards, a few other travelers, merchants, and pilgrims, and the like. And as you enter, the man behind the bar kind of calls out for orders of drinks from you, somewhat tersely. He just wants to get on with the matter of exchanging coins for alcohol. It seems like, it's the closest to an Ambrian experience you've been in since you entered Davokar, probably.
I will order a drink of whatever is broadly suitable to drink at this time in the morning.
Sure. Maybe some breakfast mead.
Sure, yeah, sounds great.
Yeah.
Do we think we can strike up some kind of conversation with the barman, or is he just...
He doesn't seem massively disposed to it, but you could try.
Good morning. We're looking for Brother Bartho. Have you seen him?
You want to talk to Arella?
Okay, and where can we find Arella?
I don't know. She works here. I'm not a father.
Okay.
She's off duty at the moment. Probably in her rooms upstairs.
Which room?
What? Why are you coming here bothering my staff?
Because we're looking for Brother Bartho. And Arella is the person that you told us that we wanted to talk to.
Aye, well, maybe. Make it worth my while, for Prios' sake.
Okay.
Everyone in the party immediately looks to Arundar.
Why is Aaron always the one? Aaron is.
I'm gonna cut in front here, and I assume we're okay just to proffer some money here, yeah.
Yeah. We're totally bribing a barman. That's what's happening.
Yeah, look, I'm just gonna put 2 shillings on the table before Arundar puts 20 thaler on the table.
The barman kind of swipes it, the 2 shillings off the bar, and says, "All right, upstairs, end on the right. But look, if you hurt him, it'll piss off one of my cooks. So just keep it calm, or I'll yell for the guards. All right?"
We're not looking to hurt anybody.
Yeah, well, see that you don't then.
Thank you.
Might I ask, barman, why would we want to hurt him?
Because he's an objectionable shit.
I see. Thank you.
I have a fairly high tolerance of objectionable shits. There was one I didn't kill just this morning.
Well, if you could try that trick again, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, today's a good day. It's going to be fine.
And tell her she's on duty in 5 minutes.
Of course. I'm going to drink my breakfast mead and walk upstairs and go and bother some woman.
Absolutely. I have a name for this character. So you stride up the stairs. It's the upstairs area is a fairly regular upper floor to an Ambrian style inn, and you find the door that was indicated quite easily. You can hear voices talking at a normal pitch from the other side of it.
Knock on the door.
Could you give me a vigilant roll, please?
Sure. Find my vigilant.
I'm taking it that the other people of the party have followed Alindra up.
That is a pass.
Yep. Okay. You hear the voices descend to sort of desperate, hushed whispers and a sort of scrambling and soft banging noise. And a woman's voice go, just a moment.
Okay.
Not too long later, the door creaks open and there is a middle-aged woman on the other side of it, with the build and demeanor of a cook, slightly on the larger side, quite plump and rosy-cheeked, and she sort of opens the door and says, "Oh." And she glances over at Father Anton, and her eyes kind of widen slightly, and she says, "Can I help you?"
Perhaps. We're looking for Brother Bartho. The barman said that you might.
No, hasn't been here for weeks.
For weeks.
Weeks and weeks. I finished with him. I did. I said, "You get out of here, you layabout. Don't have nothing to do with him anymore." I should be starting my duty downstairs.
That's correct. Yes.
Yes. So it was lovely to meet you. She's trying to sort of shoo you out further into the corridor as she closes the door behind her.
Just before you start work, do you know where he might be?
No idea. Off in the forest, I should expect. Far, far away from here.
Madam, please, if you have any idea where we may find him, we fear he may be in some amount of danger.
Could you give a persuasive roll, please, at a +3?
Yes. Yes.
Danger?
I'm afraid so.
You know about the danger? You're not here to hurt him, are you? She seems to be addressing this specifically to Anton.
No, not to hurt. We just want to talk.
All right. She goes back into her rooms and kind of opens the door for you all to come through.
I'll
Go in.
step in.
She steps over. They're not sparse room. In fact, it's quite cluttered, but not particularly kind of luxurious. Piles of clothes and some kind of used plates and the occasional couple of little pamphlets strewn around the place, but nothing too fancy. And she steps over to a rather large clothes chest at the foot of her bed and gives it a sort of slight tap with the heel of one hand and says, "Bartho, my love, I think it's safe. It's all right. It's not the black cloaks. You hear a kind of muffled swear word from inside the chest, and a individual kind of lifts up the top and starts clambering out. He is a largish man, wearing what look like quite old, battered and patched black cloak robes. And he looks like this. He sort of struggles up kind of on one knee and manages to get himself out of the clothes chest with the help of the cook, and kind of peers around at you, and his eyes kind of linger on Anton a little bit for a short while, and then says, all right, so I'm here.
That's good. That's good. I can see that you're worried. Nobody is here to hurt you.
Well, you say that. I suspect if you had been, you would have come for me knives out. I know they want to.
Who?
Well, never you mind about that.
Well,
Don't you know already? You seem to have all the information you need. Coming here, bothering me with my good lady and my place of rest.
sir, if we had the information, why would we be bothering you? I don't understand.
I apologize. I'm flustered. Very flustered. You go on now. He says to his lady friend whose name I've forgotten. Apparently, I'm a massive sexist. Rella, who sort of nods and kind of looks between you all, a little bit concerned, but then kind of like strolls out of the room and but leaves kind of the door shut slightly ajar as she walks down the corridor and down the stairs.
Okay. Let's go back to the beginning and keep this simple. We're here because we want to find out about the well-being of a woman called Elmendra. We gather you know her.
Prius's teeth.
We gather you may have gone in to at least one expedition into the forest with her.
Oh, they weren't after me.
You are, as far as we can tell, the only person that we know that's connected to Elmendra who hasn't been murdered. So we're very happy to speak to you.
You know about that, do you?
We know that we found some bodies.
Yeah. As did I. Look, who are you working for?
Ourselves.
Now, maybe. We'll see if that lasts.
We were sent on this path by a concerned friend called Crueljaw.
You're friends with Crueljaw.
We frequent the same tavern as Crueljaw.
Everyone's friends with Crueljaw.
Quite persuasive when he's very sad.
Everyone's friends with Crueljaw when he's drunk, which is most of the time. Look, what do you want me to tell you? Yes, I had dealings with Elmendra, and then she went off and found herself the lost city of gold or whatever it is. And so, people got killed. People get killed in Davakar every day. You found him in the tent, I assume.
Amagor?
Well, yeah.
And someone else she knew, Mankle, went off a cliff.
Mankle's dead.
Last seen with some Ambrian traders.
That could be anyone. He was an annoying little shit.
How did you hear about Amagor?
Because I found him, didn't I? He glances over to a nearby table on which rests a goblet that has had kind of a pamphlet of paper like popped on top of it.
Is that his?
It was. Brought it here to see if someone could take a look at it. But none of these cretins in this hinterland know anything.
You reckon it's corrupt? Or you reckon it's got poison in it?
I think it had sleeping drops in it, is what I think. And if it's
Yeah,
someone
that's what
after
we-
him who could afford to get sleeping drops, I don't like it. Reeks of them on high, if you ask me.
That was my next question. I'm assuming your group seem to have a great deal of powerful enemies. Anyone's you think would want to move on this so soon after the rumors of Symbar started floating around?
My group? Who's my group?
Yourself, Markle.
I didn't
Friends
work
of
with, I didn't work with Mankle, and Elmendra didn't have friends. She had people she went out into Davakar with. I only went out with her once.
Where did you go?
Well, now that's private information.
Did you find anything?
Maybe we did. Maybe we.
We're not trying to rob you.
He turns and looks at the small window on the side of the room and sort of tilts his head slightly. And as he does so, you also hear it. A voice sort of somewhere within the outpost, but distant enough that you can't really make out what's being said, yelling something out and then being cut off with a cry of pain. A moment later, you hear a number of other voices raised in some kind of cacophony, and then a large bell starts ringing.
Might be time for you to get back in the box, mate.
Look, if you want answers, I'll give you answers. You just keep me and Arella safe. All right? If you get me safely back to the plateau, I'll give you all the answers you want. I promise.
Okay. Right now, in the box.
All right. I'll get in the box. He swears to himself and starts climbing in. There is definitely what you would describe, or what could be described as a hue and cry going on outside. You hear the whistling sound of what might be an arrow of some kind rattling past the window.
I'm going to run over to the window and see if I can see anything out of it.
Absolutely. You can see from here that a group of guards are attempting to close the gates, although a number of individuals seem to have kind of like battered through them already and are engaged in a skirmish with other guards on the inside of the outpost. At least one guard is kind of draped over the palisade still with an arrow piercing them. And can you give me a vigilant roll as well, please, ask Rafe, for some maybe extra information?
Yep.
I think someone with some fan noise running has got their mic unmuted as well. People could restrain themselves.
Made the vigilant roll.
Okay, you see something else beyond the gate as they're struggling to get it closed. You see some kind of vast, thick shape writhing past in the gap as it closes. It seems to you to be covered in scales.
You're on mute.
Can I use Beast Law to find out what this might be?
Oh, yeah, you've got Beast Law, right? What's your... How does that... God, it's been so long since we used that. How does that actually work?
It's just cunning, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you can roll cunning. Blah, blah. the character study monsters and can make a cunning test to recognize or recollect the monster's strengths and weaknesses.
Okay. And I think, do you have like a special? Does it break down to like a speciality as well or something? Or is that the next level?
That's the next level.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Give me a cunning roll. And you know what? You specifically can take a +2 to it.
Okay.
I already know what this is, and I don't like it.
Yeah, me too. I have a strong suspicion. Okay, I need a 12. I rolled a 13. Sad.
Yeah, you don't know offhand what this might be, even though everyone knows what it is. What are we doing? It really sounds like that skirmish is sort of really starting to really start up in the sort of courtyard of the outpost outside. But what's your priority? Is it just to keep them, whatever it is, attacking from getting to Bartho? Are you going out to help the defense? Are you just trying to get it? What are we doing?
I think we're first shouting down for Arella to get up and get into the room.
Sure. There's quite a hubbub downstairs. Yeah, I was going to say there's quite a hubbub downstairs. So I think you'll have to kind of go down to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will go down and try and retrieve her.
Okay. Are you doing that on your own, or is everyone else staying up? What's happening?
I'll go down.
Oh, go down.
Okay.
We're all thundering down.
So
I am staying up, and I'm keeping an eye on the box and just guarding the room, because that's wise.
Sure. So everyone but Steo kind of thunders down the stairs. You go past several people going up in the opposite direction, presumably getting to their rooms for some purposes or another. As you descend to the bottom of the stairs, you can see kind of Arella and the barkeep sort of trying to hide behind the counter of the bar, as various other people are like crawling under tables or kind of like peering out of the windows. And as you reach the very bottom, the door of the inn kind of crashes open, and two men stumble through. One of them is wearing the livery of House Viara, or this kind of bastardized version, and the other is is a man who appears to be dressed in a very sort of typical kind of studded leather and ringmail armor, very common to the southern barbarian clans. And he kind of like topples over on one side, and the man wearing the Viara livery just kind of is driving a knife repeatedly into his side until the man goes still. This guard kind of looks up and looks over to where you are and where the individuals are behind the bar, and says, "Mother, go to your room now!" Seems someone's doing your job for you, because Arella kind of like goes and sort of ducks over and kind of squeezes past you and runs upstairs. The man has already stood up and kind of dashed back out into the yard.
Can I take a minute to try and roll Blessed Shields before we go?
You absolutely can.
That's a 19. No Blessed Shields.
So good.
Yeah, you don't even need to finish that. It's fine.
All right. Outside, you can hear the further sounds of combat, and you also hear something that sounds like a small explosion that's followed by some kind of cries of pain and distress.
We are defending this tavern then, aren't we? I'm going to go and just step outside the doorway and kind of plant myself there like a bouncer.
Once I safely shepherd the good lady into the room, I will rejoin the party.
Can we say we left maybe Ganderald and Revelia with...
You can say Revelia. Ganderald isn't with you at this moment, right? He had his own things he wanted to take care of. But Revelia can certainly stay behind and kind of guard the door and guard the two individuals.
Excellent.
Nice.
I might.
I'm going to
Sorry, go on.
do a search around the building to see if there's another entrance/exit, and if there is, I will stand guard on that one.
There does seem to be. There is a door behind the bar leading out towards where the stables are. Yeah. But are we only guarding this building? We're not aiding the defenders.
Can we figure out what they're defending against yet? Now we've got a bit more. Now there's more
Yeah,
of them in the
absolutely.
compound.
There are a number of individuals who kind of got through those gates before they were closed, and there are others who seem to be scrambling kind of at the palisades, and you can see the part of the gate has actually like splintered and broken as if something has exploded on the other side of it or penetrated it in some way. Obviously all the people fighting to defend are dressed in the like livery of the guards. Everyone fighting on the attack is dressed in the typical armor of southern barbarian clans.
Is there any sign of this creature? And
No.
how does it look like the fight is going? Does it look like there's more barbarians or more guards at a glance?
You'd say there's more guards on the inside, but the barbarians seem to be more capable fighters.
Okay. I think Askrai is going to find a spot.
Certainly, you can hear there's definitely more of them outside.
Askrai is going to find a spot at the entrance of this bar and start shooting at the barbarians.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, Alinja's. So the primary thing is not letting anybody into the tavern.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that she's not going to go and engage any barbarians that kind of get into the compound and look like they're getting away from the guards.
Absolutely. Okay, so it sounds like we're going into combat here. Unsurprisingly. So why do we have the initiative up, please, John? Mm-hmm. And for the moment, let's just have these, because as I say, that whatever that creature was on the outside has not gotten past the palisade yet. But what we have in here are two different types of enemy. We have what we will call clan warriors, and we have a guard warrior, a larger individual with a sort of lengthy double axe who is rapidly clearing guards from his path as he rampages to the center of the outpost, and the others are more kind of like clearly more minion like in their efficacy. Yeah, the guard warrior has quick 13 and vigilant 11. And the clan warriors have quick 13 and vigilant 10. I don't think we have any NPCs at play.
No, I was wondering whether to stick them on anyway, but
nope.
Because for the Nope. So Askrai goes first unless he chooses not to.
I take it you're going first, Askrai.
I will happily go first. I think I would probably shoot at this. It's a little bit of a buzzkill, but I'm going to shoot at this guy who seems to be killing guards a little bit too easily.
Yep, no, absolutely. That seems like the right thing to do. Well, this tall individual who has, you can, as I say, is dressed in this sort of studded armor and is cleaving left and right with this double axe, shooting at him. Are we are you using your armor penetration one, or are you going for a double shot?
I'm going to go armor penetrating. I'm going to use my thing that gives me two chances to hit him.
Absolutely. Well, why don't you do just that then? His defense is a -3.
Okay, I'll need a 12. First try. I rolled an 11, so it does hit. And then it's a D10 plus 1 damage, which is 4 damage, ignoring armor.
4 damage, ignoring armor. So
Yep.
You didn't go for your double shot.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, your arrow penetrates his thigh, and he gives out a kind of roar and wheels round with a rough kind of plaited, tangled beard and kind of looks over at the doorway to the tavern, which seems to have been mostly ignoring up until this point, and then starts sort of striding through the guards towards not just you, but like basically all of you but Aaron are at this front door, right? So like the group of you there anyway, but isn't immediately, engaged with you. Although I say that, but it's his turn now, isn't it? So I'd say that that's probably going to be the case. So he's going to charge forwards and try and attack it. But I think, I would say that you've naturally fallen into a formation where the three of you are protecting Ascarai. Would you say that that's a reasonable thing to have happened?
Yeah, like Elindra's going to be quite proactive about putting herself between anything and the pub. So
sure, yeah, you did say that. And you know what? Because you've said that, I will give a random roll if you want. But do you want to meet this guy? And you are next in the initiative list as well.
Yeah. I'm fine with being at the front on this one.
Absolutely. Okay. Well then, why don't we? Why don't you give me your free attack first? Then, right? You've got like that engagement.
That's right.
Attack you can take.
Any modifiers?
Yeah, -3.
That's a 20. I rolled a 20.
Okay, so that is a
free attack on his part, and then his normal attack.
Yeah, that's quite exciting because I know his stats. So, can you give me for his free attack? Can you give me a defense roll at -5, please?
Oof! I need an 8. I get a 17. Oh God.
Okay, there we go. So, how much toughness do you have again?
Right now, 16.
Okay, well, you don't have to bother with an armor roll because he ignores armor.
Oh, lovely.
So as you kind of step into his way and kind of heft your longsword up in like a guard position, you jab it out at him as he approaches, and he literally swings one massive forearm at it, and he's got a kind of cladding of just like a metal plate along one side pinned to the studded armor. He literally just knocks the point of your longsword aside and with a one-handed grip on his double axe swings it round, and the axe buries itself through your chainmail, through any elements of plate you have, and into your side. You feel ribs crunch. You feel blood soak your tabard and burst out onto the outpost. Take 11 toughness.
Ooh, wow. That, suffice to say, is above my pain threshold.
I think that is indeed suffice to say, right? He's not going to go for a free attack, though. He is going to knock you down. With
Fair.
Because I think that's fair. I think you would fall over. So you are collapsed now on your side in the doorway to the tavern. And for his attack, he thinks you're dealt with. So he's going to step towards... how fortuitous is that? He's going to step towards Steo.
Am I being engaged?
You are being engaged, my friend.
Well, guess what?
Yeah, taking your free attack on him at -3, please.
Okay. Oh, here we go. That is a success.
Okay, then. So he not only can he not hit you.
Yeah.
Let's see what your damage is. So if you give me a damage roll, please.
8 + 1 is 9.
9. That's not bad at all. Kind of leering in confidence at how he struck down your tall, powerful looking companion. He takes a step towards you, but it is an overconfident step. I know you wanted to move away from your infantryman behavior, but you are stood in a line here, so I think it's only appropriate. He kind of takes a bounding step towards you, intending, because he's even larger than you are, and you and Elindra are big, but this is a towering giant of a man, and he intends to kind of just bull you with his weight and mass back into the wall where he can kind of get that axe blade sunk into you. But instead, You lift your spear, rest it against the sill of the window behind you, and as he like leaps for you, you dodge backwards nimbly, swing the spear point around, and you pierce the side of his neck, kind of the flesh between his above his collarbone, and rip a great chunk out of it, and he rears back with a cry of pain. It is a nasty little wound, but he's definitely still up and very, very much active. Behind him are swarming a number of individuals, and at least 6 of the clan warriors peel off from the general skirmish and look to start approaching you. You don't think they will probably reach you on this turn, but they're almost certainly going to attack the group on the next turn. And Elindra is down and bleeding copiously, although in mechanical terms can still get up and fight.
Yeah, you're not down. You're just
no.
Lad. Walk it off, lad. Lady.
I think you'll find that lass is the inverse of lad. So, if my being raised in the north tells me nothing else. Elindra, it is your turn, and I'm assuming you're wanting to stand up.
Yeah, I don't know how prone works. Do I spend the turn getting up, essentially?
You have a choice, basically. You either spend the entire turn getting up, or you pass a quick test to get up with your movement action, and you still have your combat action. But I believe if you fail the quick test, you don't get up at all. I think. Is that right?
No, I think if you fail the quick test, then it uses your whole turn.
Okay, so I can try the quick test and either get up or get up and attack.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try a quick test then. Any modifier?
You've gone past your pain threshold, right? So
that's correct.
So what did
this
we
doesn't
say
happen
that is?
often.
Is that like that's like you're basically rolling at a disadvantage constantly until you're healed, right? Or until the end of the combat. Is that what we agreed? You roll 2 and take the lesser
combat, I think. Yeah.
End of combat. Yeah.
Say again.
You're rolling a disadvantage essentially. So roll 2.
Roll 2, pick the worst. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so my quick roll, I've got 2d20 here, and the worst of those is an 18, so that's a fail. So my turn is I stand up.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are, like most of the reason you can't get up fast is because your hands are slick with blood, and trying to get up the lintel of this door, like you keep slipping and end up having to push yourself up to your feet just from your legs. Obviously, mechanically, you're not down and out, but that was a hell of a wound that's just been delivered.
Real sore.
Yeah. So we're talking about the clan warriors now, and they're going to take this turn to kind of detach themselves from various parts of the skirmish and come running towards the individuals who've struck at. You don't know if it's their leader, or at least, if people are taking down the big guy, you want to pay attention to them. So that's what they're doing. Arindar, nothing's happening at the stable door. But you can see the front door, and Elindra has just collapsed into it with a cry of pain.
Then I'm going to go reinforce the front door.
Okay. Are you going to do it by running up behind them, or are you going to run round the side?
Do they both?
They're both about the same distance. I'm just interested narratively.
I'm going to run around the side.
Okay.
So it's more of a flanking movement.
Absolutely. So you can see the scene laid out now. And in fact, I'd say you've got a better view than everyone else. So why don't you give me a vigilant roll?
Any modifiers?
Nah.
That is a no.
Okay. Never mind. So that's Arindar taken care of. Steo, you've got this individual held at bay. Yeah. And so now if you engage him, because he's unengaged, right? He's not engaged by you anymore. So if I
engage him, I still get a reaction, which allows me to once again push him away.
Correct.
Which,
but even if you even if you miss that reaction, you still get your actual attack on him as well.
Yes, and also, well, no, because then I'll be engaged. I will have done the engagement. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that because I don't think I'm going to be able to deal with any of these other clans people at the minute.
You'd have to charge forward to do. You can engage them, or at least one of them, but yeah, it's up to you.
I think seeing how badly injured Alindra is, I need to keep this guy's attention off her. Sure. So I am going to go and follow up, basically.
Absolutely. Right then. So give an attack at him a -3, please.
Okay. That is a success.
Awesome. How much damage do you do?
4.
In that case, your spear point does make contact with his armor, but it it doesn't penetrate it. Essentially, it runs a groove along the sort of padding and the studs, so you don't actually make contact with his flesh. This is an interesting one though, actually, because now I guess you don't get a further attack against him because he's not in.
No, he is out of engagement, so that's me done now, I suppose.
Yeah, that's you done. Yeah, you still have your combat.
You no movement to use it on.
You've used your movement to engage, yeah, but you have a combat action, but nothing to do with it essentially, unless you could think of something. But
unless I can do like the world's most ridiculously mechanically tenuous Medicus roll, I think we're going to be.
Yeah, you know what you could use for these moments? A throwing weapon.
Yeah, and I don't really need a skill in that. I'll just have to.
No, you don't. There is an ability called Steel Throw that will help you a lot with it.
Makes it better. Yeah, good idea.
Interesting point.
Yeah, for the future.
Absolutely. Anton.
Yeah. So Anton bravely ran away. I don't. I think I've probably got to try and heal Alindra here. I think that's what I'm going to try and do, because I think that Anton will recognize that he is likely to be turned into priest meat if he tries to fight this person.
But how are we healing Alindra? Because I'm not a big fan of the mid-combat Medicus rolls, because I think that's not really applicable. Without taking the both of you out of the combat, you do have probably some
Wards of the Dusk
left.
That's what I was.
Also,
thinking.
Your holy aura would heal her, right?
But that would heal every living thing, including.
Can you not choose to exclude individuals?
I don't think so at the level that I've.
I think you can, but
you can exclude allied abominations and undead
from the damage, but can you not exclude? Let's just have a read of this and what it says.
It does just say living creatures.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the adept says the healing applies to living creatures, and the master says that living allies get a higher.
So they heal more. Okay, yeah. Okay,
I still end up healing the enemies, just slightly less.
Just less.
That's fun.
Yeah. But this is Anton, so he would roll high for the enemies and low for the allies. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Water of the Dust seems to be the best solution.
Like the severity, the mechanics aside, that's where I was going with it anyway, because the severity of the wounds looks horrendous.
Absolutely. And you are definitely close enough to lean over to Alindra, and I'm assuming Alindra is going to accept the draft.
Sure.
But tell me I'm wrong.
I think Alindra's in a lot of pain right now and is not going to turn down anything that stands a chance of reducing that pain.
Absolutely. In that case, Water of the Dusk is an immediate -1 to corruption, but I don't think you have any, and it's 1d10 healing, right?
Cool. Who rolls that?
You.
I roll. I roll a 1. That might be worth an XP, mightn't it?
Might be.
Let's do that, shall we?
If you roll a 1 again now, Just rip the party's XP forever.
No, I didn't. I rolled a 2.
We're now paying 1 point of XP for 1 point of toughness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got pretty real.
Okay. Well, that doubled your healing, so that's pretty good. Yeah, you feel that kind of familiar rush of warmth in you, but I don't know. Maybe it's diminishing returns.
Just leaks out.
Yeah, exactly. Comes out the other end. So there we go. Okay, so that's Antom's turn. Let's roll back around to the beginning. Oh God, do we think we've got time for another round? Right? Does anyone need to dash off or anything? We've got time
Let's
for another
do
round.
it.
Yeah. Okay. So Askarai, it is your turn, friend.
Can I reasonably shoot this warrior?
Yeah, he's not engaged with anyone.
Okay, then I'm definitely going to shoot him, and I'm going to do armor piercing again.
Sure, go for it.
Okay. It's a -3 on the attack?
Correct.
Okay. So I need a 12. I rolled a 6, so it makes it. And it's.
I'm surprised you didn't use your hunter's mark on him anyway.
I think I did. I think I said I did,
Okay.
which means I get 2 chances.
Right.
But for damage, I only rolled a 3 + 1, 4 damage, ignoring armor.
But it ignores armor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, your arrow kind of emerges out from his shoulder, very quickly because you're very close. You basically just twangs off your bow and just thrusts into his shoulder, only about maybe 6 feet or so away from you. And he kind of rocks back, and he definitely registers it, but he seems to have entered some kind of, semi-berserker kind of state where he's just desperately trying to scrabble forwards at Steo, and doesn't really seem to feel it, although it's certainly a wound that would, is very dangerous indeed, and you suspect he's kind of not far off the end of things, but not quite yet. Are you doing anything with your movement action?
I'm not sure where. Can I move anywhere that's slightly further back from the other warriors who are approaching while still having line of sight?
Yeah, you can take a couple of steps back and hope that this kind of screen of 3 individuals in front of you kind of maintains itself. Like, more than most places you fight, like, you can maintain some kind of distance here because of the kind of the doorway that you can take a step into and fire from, for sure.
Yeah, I'll attempt to position myself such that I don't get engaged in melee.
So we're in the guard warrior's turn, and the guard warrior is real pissed off at Steo and is just going to keep coming. So roll.
Oh, it seems I'm being engaged.
Yeah, roll your attack at a -3, please, Steo.
Okay, here we go. And I'm going to burn XP if this doesn't roll right. So
Sure.
it's technically. Oh, I declared it before I rolled it.
You did. Spend that XP and roll, friend.
That's much better.
That's much more like it. So why don't you give me a damage roll then?
That's a reasonable 6.
A reasonable 6. Just for anyone who's curious, who may not be regular watchers, Steo does get a +1 to his to all his damage rolls because of deep impact.
For reasons that have no backstory whatsoever.
Absolutely. But it is specifically the deep impact quality, right? That you have. Yeah. Well, now, this now driven to this berserk state, this guard warrior kind of just comes at you again, essentially trying to do exactly the same thing he did before. And you see no reason to change your tactics in response. Again, you brace your spear behind you, thrust out. You impale him directly through like the padding on his chest, and he gives out a sort of coughing roar and swings that double axe around for you, and then nerveless fingers stiffen and drop it into the growing swirled mud under your feet, and he kind of collapses down. You almost kind of go down with him just because he's on the end of your spear and he's a huge guy. But you manage to kind of like place your boot on his side and drag your spear out in readiness for the other clan warriors coming your way. But the guard warrior is dead, so can be removed from the initiative. Elindra, there's 6 clan warriors running towards your group, and you are now up on your feet and mildly healed.
Yeah. Like, there's not there's not really any way of resolving this that's not about putting those clown warriors on the ground. So I'm going to step forward and engage with one.
Okay. Are you?
So that's a free attack on.
You don't have your Revenant Strike activated, correct?
I don't know. I didn't want to freak out the people in this place.
That's fair enough. You never know what their reaction might be. Okay, yeah, you step forward and engage one. Get your free attack, and they are also at a -3. They are armed with kind of hand weapons and shields.
That is a success on the attack. And so it's just D12 damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
7.
7. Okay, that's that, and it knocks down that.
Should I be taking the disadvantage on the rolls?
Yeah, please. Oh no, you've been. I did say until you're healed slightly, and you know what? I think it'll depend. But it depends on the healing. But I'd say in the spirit of Water of the Dusk, you're probably not feeling the pain as much anymore. So you know what? I'd say if you've had Water of the Dusk, you're good to go.
Cool. Then, yeah, 7.
So the clan warrior running towards you, she's kind of screaming an inarticulate cry as she comes towards you. Like half of her head has been kind of shaved and the other half is braided in a style you don't recognize. You batter aside the shield that she holds out and thrust with your blade a deep, deep gouge along her arm that leaves her shrieking, but no less determined to bury her axe in your skull. And speaking of axes in skulls, it's their turn.
Well,
go on.
That was the attack on engagement.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. Okay. I forgot you've got the polar mastery thing.
That is another successful attack, and that is 11 damage this time.
Okay. Yeah. So
just to show it's not the guard that can do it.
She barrels forward, shrieking, and you take a couple of quick back steps. Adopt your. I was about to say Wrathguard, but that would be confusing in the context of this, where Wrathguard means something else. You hold your sword back like that in a wide sweeping motion. Queen's Guard, we could call it.
I was going to say the Italian position of the lady or something. Posta di Donna?
Yeah. Which it's Queen's Guard, yeah. And swing round, and her cry, her shriek of rage is cut off as you sever her head from her shoulders, and the body and the head are go tumbling into the mud of the gathering skirmish at the center of the outpost. We have engagements from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 others, and I am just going to do my customary random rolls, but I'm going to ignore Askarai for the purposes of this one. And I'm actually going to weight it in favor of Alindra because Alindra has moved forwards as well. So let's do that. So the first one is going to go to Alindra. The second one is going to go to Arindar. Third is going to Alindra. Fourth is going to Arindar. And the final one is going to Father Antom. So Chris is having an easy time of it. Look at that. So Alindra, 2 of them are engaging you. Do you want to have 2 free attacks, please?
Sure. Right, I'll roll the attacks first.
Defenses at -3.
Okay. We hit one. We hit the second one.
Okay.
Damage on the first one is 9, and the second one is 12.
Bloody hell. Okay. Well, those both go past their pain thresholds, as one might imagine. So why don't you? Do you want to take second attacks on both of them?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that.
So they're both still standing. So,
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the second attack is a success, and the second one is also a success. And the damage for the first one is 5.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is 12 again.
Okay. So 2 of the clan warriors come kind of roaring towards you. And you've, I think Elindra's just reached the end of her temper with, she was already grumpy before this fight broke out.
I've not killed 2 priests today.
Exactly. Both Pyramai and Anton. And this... and this is just the straw that broke the camel's back. One of them charges towards you and is dispatched to the ground with 2 great kind of sparkling sweeps of your blade. The other one sort of attempts to come in to avenge their fallen comrade, and with a backswing you open up them at the center, and as they desperately clutch onto the reels of intestines that are pouring out between their fingers and are still kind of trying to come at you with a shortened blade in one hand. So you killed one of them outright and the other one's on 1 toughness, so they're not having a good day.
I mean, the one that's alive gets to attack now, I guess.
It's true, but you're no longer flanked, so...
That's true.
Can you give me 2 rolls of defense at a -5, please?
Sure. Fail. And a pass.
Okay, that's fine then. Because they've gone past their pain threshold, so
I'm
giving you 2 chances at defense.
Take the best one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Aaron Dar, 2 attacks on you, please, at -5.
I don't get a disadvantage for flanking, though, because I have Farron with me.
Because you have Farron with you, yes.
So that's -3, right?
No, it's -5. I already
-5.
accounted
Sorry.
for that. It's a quick note about stat blocks in Symbaroum. I don't like how almost every monster has their attack stat at 15. Because it makes it kind of samey.
I have 2 passes.
Which means you get 2 free attacks on them, right?
Yep.
So give me an attack on each of them at -3, please.
So the first one, target 13. Oh, it's a 20. So
they get another free attack on you.
To end this nonsense, I'm going to spend an experience point.
Okay.
I was talking before the session about how
You promised you weren't going to.
I've already said it now. It's too late. I've done it. I've typed it. Okay, that's better. That's a hit at 7.
Mm-hmm.
7 damage. And a hit for another 7 damage.
Okay. So the 2 individuals coming towards you, one of them is kind of distracted by a meerkat-shaped grayish, whitish blob that emerges from one side and sort of barrels into them, hissing and raking and scraping and biting. And the other one kind of looks over as it does so, and their swings at you both go wild. You step to one side and 2 quick thrusts into their torso. Both of them cry out in pain, but neither of them are disabled enough to kind of either retreat or topple over into the mud at this point. And Anton.
I guess I'll do an attack.
I guess you'll do a defense roll at -5 first, because it's a clan warrior's turn. I understand where you might be confused by the fact that everyone else in the party, basically when people attack them, they get to kill them.
Yeah, I don't get to do that, and I get to do a damage roll instead.
Nice. Give me
an
that
armor roll instead.
Give me that armor roll then, please.
Just a 1.
Just a 1. In that case, the screaming barbarian warrior coming for you buries the edge of his axe into your upper arm and leaves a very deep gouge in there for 4 toughness.
Oof. 4 toughness is my pain threshold, so
it needs to be over your pain threshold to apply. Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Aaron Dar, it's your turn. You are engaged with 2 individuals, but as we said, they do not get flanking because of Farron.
I will try and attack one of them.
Okay. That's at a -3, please.
That is a hit with 5 damage.
Hit with 5 damage. Okay, yeah, you dodge around the guard and the shield of one of them, and with another thrust, it's the typical sort of kind of the sword saint approach, the ancient Ambrian skill of kind of death by 1,000 cuts as you slice into them again with your blade. They're still on their feet. They're still coming at you, but you are definitely taking them apart blow by blow. Steo. So there's one intact clan warrior facing Anton, one very nearly dead one facing Alindra, and 2 quite wounded ones facing Arindar.
Having seen the absolute sword spaghetti that Arindar has been pulling off, I'm actually going to skip. I'm going to let him fend for himself, and I'm going to attempt to save the priest, useless as they are.
Sure. Why don't you roll for your engagement hit then, please, first at -3.
Perfect.
Oh, and you are flanking, right? So it's actually a -1. Yeah.
Okay. That is a success. Yes, no, it is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like how you sound like you're convincing yourself.
Numbers are hard.
Absolutely. So give me a damage roll, and don't forget to add a d4 for your advantage.
The damage is 10 flat plus 3. That's 13 damage.
13 damage. That is perfect. Anton, the clan warrior you're facing gives a cry as their kind of chest erupts. Blood and gore sprays over your torso and your face as the bronze spear tip of Steo emerges from their sternum with a practice thrust from the former infantryman. So that one's dead. It's great fighting fodder, isn't it? After the guy who comes in and downs one of you in one blow. Anton, it's your turn.
How close am I to anyone that could be killed? And could I?
You're easily close enough to the 2 of them facing Aaron and the one facing Alindra that you could try a flank hit on them this turn.
Yeah, I'll go for one of the ones near Aaron, I guess.
Sure. The more wounded or the less wounded one?
Let's go more wounded.
More wounded. Okay. Yeah, have a flanking attack. So that's an attack at -1.
I make it.
And damage roll, please.
It's been so long since I actually connected with one of these. I'm going to have to look up because normally I fail and then get like my backup attack.
Don't forget that it's your new big flail, right? Your fancy flail.
Yeah, so it's 6 damage.
6 damage. Okay. Arindar, the one you're facing, who you've kind of pricked a couple of times with your blade, goes. Like when you see. Someone in a sport or some kind, or like wrestling or whatever, just get absolutely tackled off their feet, just absolutely battered, like they were there 1 second and now they're not. That is effectively what you see as that individual. Anton, you kind of dash towards him with that flail held back, really reel it round. The flail, kind of the metal balls, those famous metal balls at the end, make precise contact with the side of this individual's head, and kind of mid furious roar, he's just sent flying through the air to crash into the side of the stables with a sickening thud. From what the side of his head looks like, he is not getting up again. So there we go. When Anton hits, he does do some damage. Okay, we'll end the round there, but not quite the session yet, because as you are polishing off these clan warriors, there is another sound of a muffled explosion, and the gates of the outpost crack open. Through them pour several more clan warriors, immediately starting struggling with the guards on the inside, who do seem to be prevailing in the skirmish. Near you, perhaps you drew off a number of those clan warriors, so that was bound to have helped. Through that cracked gate come 2 things. First, a scampering, capering woman dressed as a clan witch, almost dancing through the mud and spinning around, cackling and making just odd shrieking noises as she does so, throwing odd kind of packed globules of things around her, some of which crackle, some of which explode slightly when they make contact with individuals, and thundering atop the earth, sending mud sliding, splashing over the walls around it, is, albeit a much smaller version of something you are all familiar with, a lindworm, a serpentine, dragon-like menace, reeling around, snapping its jaws closed on a Viara outpost guard entirely, and as the unfortunate individual desperately batters away at its eyes with the palm of his hand, crushes the man's body with one sharp crunch of its jaws. And I think we'll leave the session there. So there we go. Folks, put comments and questions in the chat if you would like them addressed. In the meantime, I will do some promo and give out some thanks. So check the video description below. You will find links aplenty, links to YouTube, links to Twitch. You watch this on one, please go enjoy our other site. We also have links down there to social media, to Discord, to Patreon. If those are things that might tickle your fancy, feel free to tickle your fancy with them. We run 2 weekly streams at the moment. Symbaroum is on a Wednesday, of course, and Vason, the folk horror 1800s investigatory wonderful thing from Fria Ligan, is on Mondays, and they return with their second investigation arc on this Monday. We also run monthly one-shots of all kinds of different systems. You can find them all on our YouTube. The next one is on Saturday, December 17th, where we'll be playing Alien, and we'll be doing that for the 3rd time. It's the 3rd installment of Alien. Each one follows on from the others. So if you want to catch up on that, please take a look on our one-shots playlist on our YouTube. They are called A Place of Burning and A Congress of Sorrows, and this will be the conclusion of that quite well-received trilogy, and quite PC killy trilogy. Thanks go out to, oh good lord, Naga, thank you for the community sub gift. That's very much appreciated. And Dr. Vio Moore, the 10 community sub gifts. Good lord, that's very generous of you. Thank you so much. What happened? I'm actually curious. Chris, you'll know. Did we even have 10 people to receive those in chats? Do they just kind of go into a pot for later? What happens?
They go to basic randomers who've ever been on this on the channel, even for a moment. So you can find gift subs from channels you've only ever graced for a fraction of a second can turn up from time to time.
And tell me, Chris, how do those turn up in the payment stats for us? Do they turn up all the same?
Yeah, stonks. You get your
exactly.
You get your tiny, sad cut of the amount of money we pass on to Daddy Bezos.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much to both of you for being very generous with the sub gifts. We really appreciate it. Those are our thanks for this week. Thank you so much, John.
I was going to say, if you go to the actual Twitch chat, you can see all the people
who actually
got them. And it's a good amount of names that I recognize.
It is a number of recognizable names. It even includes one of our players tonight. So there we go. Wow. Awesome. Thank you so much. So both people who are gifting. Okay, let's get those comments on the go. Dr. Via Moore, the individual with the 10 gift subs. Mike's hello was so blunt, he may as well try to hit things with it. Might turn out better than normal. Let me tell you, folks, and Mike will back me up on this. If there's one thing we love here, and one thing I love, it's people ripping on Mike. I've done it myself for 20 years, and let me tell you, it's a rich vein of satisfaction that one can find. I
would say poor Mike, but he's literally our only arcane player and our only healer, so he needs to pull his weight.
Very happy to be Matt's punching bag while he grubbily hunts for coins from strangers in exchange for content.
We have allegations of misconduct.
Would people out there be willing to just pay us directly for like just an hour of really going to town on Mike?
Oh my god. Patreon stream.
Why? You do it for free.
Well, maybe we need to cut them off at the source then and start monetizing that shit, you know? Get us an OnlyFans. Just pure content. Naga, how much does Mike get paid to fail his rolls? Shockingly nothing. He does this for free. No. And then accuses me of grubbing for money.
Yeah.
We love each other, really. Let me just make that clear. Don't kick food. What is the minimum distance from camp for corpse disposal required by Karvosti etiquette? I don't know. A barbarian camp, at least 100 feet. An Ambrian camp, yeah, it's fine. Just leave it there in the water source if available.
Clearly, wherever we left it, it should have been either closer or further away.
Yeah, right.
I'd say that's literally coming back to literally haunt us in the future.
Absolutely.
These next 3 comments, I can't super get the timing on them because I wasn't there at the time.
Sure.
But they were all posted in the same minute, so I think it's just 3 people making the same joke.
Mm-hmm. Beramo, fuck off. Beramo of the old family, fuck off. And I'm making my family name Farquaff. Oh no, poor Beramo.
We've got so much Beramo in the chat. I'll spare Matt.
Thank you.
I did like
Priest Meter, my new favorite band. Yeah.
plus discussions of what genre they are. Heavy metal, punk new age. Someone suggested soul.
Clergy.
Heavy metal because of the mailed balls.
The clergy core.
Yeah, it's a sort of gospel and bass.
Yeah. Yeah. Gospel metal crossover. Which lightsaber forms use the Posta di Donna? All right. Do you want the answer? Because I'll give you the answer if you want the answer. If you want the answer, I'll give you the fucking answer.
It's like a lore landmine.
Form 5 would probably be the one to most use the Posta di Donna.
And who are famous practitioners of Form 5?
Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader is the primary user of Form 5 within the Star Wars canon. Happy now?
I am.
No.
That'll teach you for asking a sarcastic question.
It's a pose that emphasizes
the accurate answer.
It's a pose. It's a form that emphasizes the wielder's strength and like battering the opponent into submission. Actually, via more question. What was the first RPG each of you played? Well, that is a question. And while I actually try and remember, why don't we go out now? I know someone who will easily be able to answer this. So let's start with Mike.
It was Exalted, which is a White Wolf.
That's
it is White Wolf.
Weird one to start with.
Yeah, it was a weird one, and it was also the longest campaign that I was ever a part of as well, because I think it went on for about 2 years.
Yeah, it might be this one might be edging it out now, but yeah, it was it was a long one. Yeah, I know this because I ran it. So yeah, Exalted still one of my favorite RPGs as well. I absolutely love it. Really, really, really great fantasy world. Yeah. Check it out. There's a new version from what they're called, Onyx Path, who do a lot of the follow-up White Wolf stuff. There's a new version and they're kickstarting bits and pieces of it from time to time. So yeah, take a look at it. Sam.
Mine was Dead. Is it Deadlands?
Yeah.
Yeah. So who ran that one?
I think that was you, possibly you.
Yeah.
That was good fun. We've
Yeah,
never played
Deadlands.
it since, even though it's really good fun. And whenever it's like people are asking, "Oh, what do you want to play?" I'm always like Deadlands, and then we haven't ended up playing it. Very sad.
Well, you know what? How about we definitely run some Deadlines in 2023 for you, Sam? Because I'm desperately looking for things to run at this stage.
Yeah.
So
good.
there we go. Yeah, Deadlands is
Everyone-
like a weird west, like supernatural horror western thing.
Everyone, join our Discord and tell us to do Deadlands in 2023 as one of our one-shots.
Sure.
Please.
Yeah, we'll do that. Stephen, I don't actually know this because I didn't run your first RPG.
You didn't know. So the first campaign was something White Wolf flavored. I'm guessing vampire, but I played a lot of different White Wolf around the same time. But before that, I played a number of kind of mostly disastrous D&D one-shots. In the majority of them, the player characters ended up bickering and starting fights and never got out of the tavern that they met in.
Those sound
90s.
like classic tweener games.
Yeah.
Chris, do I sense the word werewolf coming over the horizon?
Alas, no, I started on vampire, but I grew out of it.
Sure.
Brutal.
Don't mind Chris. He hates goths. Vampire. Yeah. Because 90s, so White Wolf abounded for those of us who are old enough to have played then. John.
So it definitely was D&D. It partly depends on what you count as a role-playing game. The first time it was a proper role-playing game, it was 4th edition, which was an interesting introduction. Luckily, all my preconceptions following this were cured by a 3.5 campaign by someone else immediately afterwards. I remembered I did actually, when I was like 15, a friend of mine was like, I got Dungeons and Dragons, let's play it. And then we played it and we were like, this is just a board game.
Yeah.
So technically, I don't know if that really counts. But even if it doesn't, the answer's still Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, sure. Interesting that is the only one of us for which it was D&D, which is probably a bit of a rarity if you took any 5 RPG players. The first RPG I ever participated in was something I played at lunchtime with some friends at school when I was, I don't know, either 11 or 12. It was systemless and we were just making it up as we go along. That's not to say we were just playing a game. It was specifically an attempt to play a TTRPG. I was running it. So it was probably based on the only TTRPG I owned at that point, which was Advanced Fighting Fantasy. So I might as well go with that. And I suspect the first proper RPG I ran as well would have been Advanced Fighting Fantasy. So we'll go with that. And then not too long after that, or a year or so, or 2 years or so after that, I was very much a White Wolf boy. So almost all of the RPGs for the next few years were either White Wolf or Call of Cthulhu. Yeah. Them's my answers. So there we go. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the comment. Thank you again for the very generous gift subs to both people who donated. And we'll be back next week with more Symbaroum. I think we established that the only kind of Christmas time off we're taking is in the week between Christmas and New Year, right? So we will keep going almost up until the wire. Thank you for joining us. Take care and stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye. Oh, and join them on Monday Crew, Vason, this Monday.